This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This morning on Sunrise, Gresham police have suspended their search for a man they say is armed and on the run. We spoke with people living at an apartment complex where investigators say he rammed into several cars. Neighbors say things like this are becoming more common.
Also this morning, more fallout from the biggest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis. Most of its customers are startup tech companies. But other startups are also affected, including one right here in Portland. Details coming up. Plus.
So I told my folks, I'm going too. But they wouldn't take me.
Wouldn't take him because he was too young. He was only 16. Too young to fight in World War II. So instead, he served his country as a civilian. Now, nearly 80 years later, we're going to tell you all about the long-awaited honor this Vancouver man received for his service as a merchant marine. That story is coming up here at 5:15. It is a Monday morning. Man, busy weekend for the gang. Christine participated in the Shamrock Run. Congratulations on finishing.
Thank you.
Brenda told me she walked 10 miles for no good reason other than she could.
Exercise.
Exercise is a good reason. I apologize. And then Rodney, this guy, so excited about the work week. He decided, I'm coming in Sunday to work a day early.
And it was sad because you guys know I really wanted to run the Shamrock, but
Dang.
You worked instead.
I was working, you know. I mean, maybe next year, right? I could never finish that, by the way. Here's a look at our steady rain outside, and we have a heavy rain pocket all lit up in the yellow and orange colors right now, moving north toward Oregon City. I think it's up into the Canby area right now. That's cats and dogs type stuff. This is going to be steady, widespread rain throughout much of the morning, enough so that you should expect the morning commute to become somewhat of a mess, or at least slower than normal. We're at 44 in Portland right now, but a lot of you are waking up to temperatures sitting at 50, so there's not much of a chill out there. 48 at noon in the Rose City, 46 later today with scattered showers. But again, the big story is a very wet morning, likely to slow things up off the regular pace. Back to you.
All right, we'll have more from Rod here coming up shortly, but we want to start our news coverage this morning in Gresham, where police say an armed man rammed his car into multiple vehicles and a fence at an apartment complex over the weekend before running from the scene.
Police have suspended the search for him, but they warn he's still a danger. KGW's Daisy Caballero spoke with neighbors who say they don't feel safe anymore.
Having people like this so close by, you start to realize that something can happen in an instant. A Gresham neighbor's Ring camera captured this video Friday night of a man they believe police are looking for after ramming into multiple vehicles and a fence while armed with a gun over the weekend. Something can happen to you, to your neighbors, to your kids. At that moment, millions of things cross your mind, and it's the moment you say, we aren't safe anymore. According to Gresham PD, this all started Saturday night. They responded to reports of someone honking their horn during a dispute who also had a gun. By the time they arrived, the man they were looking for was nowhere to be found, but was determined to have a felony warrant for unauthorized use of a vehicle. It's the first time we see someone with a gun that we know of, but other people have parked here before. And we always try to say, hey, you don't live here, please leave, but they don't care. Fast forward to Sunday morning. Miriam Cruz's neighbors see a man sleeping in their parking lot with a gun in his lap. That's when someone called the police. Gresham PD quickly realized it was the same man that they were searching for from Saturday night. In the last few years, things have gotten worse. Gresham's Special Emergency Response Team arrived and parked directly behind the suspect's car to stop him from driving off. He then rammed into a wooden fence towards another apartment complex and ran away from officers through the fence he just crashed into. So it's been going on for years.
Yes, it has been going on.
Neighbors say this isn't the first time people have run through their backyard. One of them actually built a wooden fence to stop this from happening. And it did stall the suspect police are looking for, as he couldn't get through. He tried to go through the fence, but was unsuccessful. So he kicked and broke the door open and ran away. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
President Biden is set to talk about the banking system at any moment. In the meantime, here is the very latest tweets that he's been putting out on the situation. He directed the Treasury Secretary and the Director of the National Economic Council to work with banking regulators. The president added he's pleased that they reached a prompt solution that protects American workers and small businesses and keeps our financial system safe. He says the deal also makes sure taxpayer dollars are not put at risk. The Today Show will have much more on this coming up this morning at 7 o'clock, right after sunrise.
And of course, we've also been following those big banking failures. One is in California, the other in New York. This is taking a look at the stock market right now, and definitely something that we're keeping tabs on as businesses really across the country and even in our local area are being impacted. In fact, this is Slumberkins. This is a locally based children's toy and early learning store. They said a lot of their money was actually in the Silicon Valley Bank that collapsed in California. That was on Friday. So it all left Slumberkins in financial limbo. But the company received so much support after its post that they actually sold out on many of their items. They've been able to check their bank account, they say, and they are cautiously optimistic.
Let's take you back now to that look at the stock market. It will open, of course, in just over an hour from now at 6:30. So we're going to talk about the impacts that this bank collapse will have this morning on the stock market. Last week, we know, a difficult week, especially on Friday, things trending downward all week long. Wall Street is expected to open higher this morning, though.
And for context, the California bank failure on Friday is the second largest in U.S. history. This after a New York bank failure happened just yesterday. NBC's Bree Jackson has the federal response from Washington, D.C.
The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank set off panic.
We have went to 2 other banks and have started withdrawing the funds.
The federal government is stepping in to ensure consumers have access to their money today. But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen insists there would be no bank bailouts like there were in 2008.
The reforms that have been put in place means that we're not going to do that again.
Instead, regulators plan to back all SVB deposits and those at Signature Bank in New York, which shuttered Sunday. They'll cover those costs, in part, by using the FDIC's Deposit Insurance Fund.
It's not going to cost taxpayers money.
The extraordinary move also aims to calm financial markets before trading resumes this morning. Experts weighed in on what they believe is the root cause of the second largest bank failure in U.S. history.
Banks are free to fail when you have a change in interest rates like we've had over the past several months, the most aggressive rate hike cycle in 2 generations. Some banks' business models are not going to work anymore.
The White House hopes to ease fears that more banks could follow. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The Trailblazers will honor legendary broadcaster Bill Schonely today with a public ceremony. Schonely died earlier this year, back on January 21st. He was 93 years old. Schonely, of course, served as the Blazers' play-by-play voice for almost 3 decades. In that time, he called more than 2,500 games, including the Blazers' 1977 championship over the Philadelphia 76ers. His celebration of life is tonight, starting at 4 o'clock at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. KGW's Art Edwards will be there, and we'll have more on that coming up later this afternoon right here on KGW.
He was such a gentleman. He will be missed. I hope that, we'll bring some of the tribute to you a little bit later. But in the meantime, Mr. Rod Hill is out here. It is a sloppy, wet commute.
Enough rain that you were so serious when you said that. It is a sloppy wet commute.
It is.
It is. Right. Probably enough so that you should count on extra time needed to get to work this morning. Here's a look at the big picture of the radar and rain. The rain is going to continue to pick up really across all of our state and much of Washington as well. Here it is on the west side. Absolutely a steady rain that may not break up until we get around the noon hour today. So it's going to be raining for a while. And look at the yellow-orange dots. All of this funneling up to the north-northeast. So this is cats and dogs type rain rates. I assume you get into a lot of these areas. We're already starting to see puddling on area roadways. Again, it's probably going to be a morning where the weather is going to cause the commute to be quite a bit slower than normal. So be prepared for that out the door. Temperature is not an issue. You know, often when we get these heavy rain days, we could pick up an inch today, for example. It comes with warming temperatures. So a lot of you are at 50 right now. There's Salem 50, Eugene 52. Portland 50 in spots, but PDX is along the Columbia where you get a bit of an east wind coming out of the gorge that's holding the Rose City down to 44. You see it's 39 out in the Dalles right now. Also a little bit cooler up in Kelso, 45. But I mean, the cool spots are in the mid-40s up and down I-5. Here's Futurecast. The front was coming in around 9 o'clock. Now current imagery is showing probably a little bit before 9 a.m. This is 8 o'clock this morning. Here's still heavy rain, mostly now starting to get east of I-5, but the rain itself may not break up until noon. This is 1 o'clock this afternoon, then eventually scattered showers come in behind all of that. Right now it's 37 degrees and raining up at Government Camp on Mount Hood. Haven't seen that in a while. So there is an advisory for snow above 2,000 feet today in the high country. A morning rain mix of pass level. Heaviest snow today will generally be 5,000 feet and up. Meadows and timberline base areas will pick up a foot plus of really wet, heavy snow today. 7-day forecast. So we have the morning rain breaking into showers. Temperatures around 50. For a lot of you, right now will be the warmest part of your day. And then temperatures drop off somewhat into the 40s this afternoon. A few scattered showers tomorrow. Rain showers Tuesday overnight. But Wednesday morning, if everything stays on track, will quickly go dry. We still have Thursday possibly getting up to about 60. Can I get up as high as the temperature on Thursday? Barely. Won't that feel nice? I can jump higher than that. Obviously, I was just playing around.
You got there, Rod. Yeah. You got there. You got there. Okay, thanks. Okay, something that I know Rod Hill has lots of things to say about, but Congress considering a bill that would get rid of daylight saving. This morning, we want to know what you think. Our Sunrise poll says, should we keep changing our clocks twice a year? We want to know. Right now, 100% of you, however many people have voted at 5:12 this morning, have said no. Head to our Sunrise Twitter account to vote. It is pinned at the very top of our page.